more. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we are live. So whenever you are ready, you can call the meeting to order.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Carter Simcox, Planner 1 here at the city. So tonight's public hearing is the first step in the process of applying for the city's 2024 Community Development Block Grant allocation. I ask all those watching on Facebook or YouTube to comment their name to sign in so it can be reflected in the meeting minutes. For an overview of CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant Program was created through an act of Congress. Funds for these grants come from the federal government through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to the state of Pennsylvania. PA Act 179 created an entitlement grant program for municipalities, which is administered through the PA Department of Community and Economic Development. Every CDBG project must be managed according to the federal and state regulations governing the program, from how to fund projects to how to report and document that the projects followed all regulations. The purpose of the CDBG program is to assist municipalities with enhancing the viability of their communities by targeting and funding projects that provide decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expanded economic opportunities, principally for those low to moderate income persons. The city's 2024 allocation will be $307,115, with 18% or $55,280 able to be used for administrative costs. Tonight, we'll discuss the regulatory requirements associated with CDBG funded projects, discuss the obligations of applicants, and any proposed projects. For a project to be funded through CDBG, it must be both eligible and fundable as determined by the federal and state regulations. Eligibility under CDBG guidelines. Projects potentially eligible for funding with CDBG funding includes a broad range of activities such as infrastructure improvements, meaning roads, water, sewage, sewer, and storm sewer, community centers, historic preservation, economic development activities, and public service projects. Your packet includes more of a complete list. Activities not eligible for funding include political activities, general operating expenses, anything considered to be a maintenance activity, as well as any activity that is the general purpose of government to provide to its citizens. Fundability. The federal and state requirements of the CDBG program require that all projects funded through it meet one of three national objectives. These objectives are benefit low to moderate income persons, meaning 51% of the individuals benefiting from the project must be of low to moderate income. The objective most often met by projects using CDBG is LMI benefit. Applicants must first determine the service area of the project. Lock Haven has citywide LMI eligibility. If the project services the entire city, it's fundable and no survey is necessary. If the project serves only a part of the city, that portion will need to be surveyed to ensure 51% of its residents are LMI. At least 70% of the city's CDBG funds must be used to meet this objective. And we also have the Section 8 income limits included in your packets. Number 2, for the national objectives, is the elimination of slum or blight. This requires a municipal declaration. It's used occasionally for demolition of deteriorated structures. It identifies a physical blighting influence and removes it. And you're allowed a maximum of 30% of your CDBG funds to be used for this. The third national objective is response to urgent need, which is rarely used. It requires formal declaration of a disaster or emergency. If the emergency has to have occurred in the last 18 months, and serious and immediate threat to health or welfare, and the grantee does not have sufficient funds and lack of other funding exists. How to apply for funding. Not-for-profits and authorities may apply to the city for funding to do projects that are eligible and fundable. Applications were distributed to known nonprofits on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. and are due to the planning department by 3 p.m. on Monday, September 2nd, 2024. Your match requirements and expectations. There's no funding match required, and applicants willing to put local funds into engineering or construction will be reviewed more favorably. The applicant must provide the information detailed on the request for funding form. Applicants whose projects are selected for funding must supply the following information according to federal regulations: a detailed project description, a location map, a service area map. The service area is anyone who benefits from the project. And a detailed project budget. This may include a cost of engineering or architecture services. In the past, DCD has allowed municipalities to begin multi-year projects and then reimburse themselves with future CDBG funding. This practice is no longer allowed by DCD. 3 years of funding is now the maximum. And we will also need a national objective justification. The applicant must be willing to follow all CDBG regulations, including but not limited to the requirements for environmental review, the competitive bidding process for all construction and demolition projects, federal or state prevailing wage rates, and MEB-WEB Section 3 solicitation. For projects servicing an area greater than the city of Lock Haven, fair share will apply. If anyone has any questions about applying for CDBG funds, please contact the planning department at 570-893-5904. Public announcements required to be considered for CDBG funding. The Fair Housing Resolution was adopted at the April 15, 2024 meeting, and Fair Housing Notice was published in the Express on May 6, 2024. The city has adopted and published a fair housing analysis and has established a plan to further assure fair housing in the city. The notice advises residents of the discriminatory actions that are prohibited, as well as provide direction to residents with notifying the appropriate agency should a discriminatory action occur. Fair housing notice and resolution are posted on the bulletin board inside the front entrance to City Hall. The city has developed an anti-displacement plan. It's always the intent of the city to undertake CDBG activities which do not result in the displacement of residents. However, CDBG regulations require the city to adopt a residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan in the event displacement is necessary. The plan describes steps that will be taken to minimize displacement of persons from their homes as a result of any CDBG assisted activity. I'd like to draw your attention to the Section 3 preference statement at the bottom of the public meeting agenda. Interested individuals or businesses are invited to contact the City of Lock Haven Planning Department for more information. Also considered with this application is the required Section 504 annual review. As part of each year's CDBG application, the city solicits public input on the accessibility of the city's facilities and programs to the learning, mobility, vision, hearing, and language impaired persons. I'd like to give an opportunity for anyone to identify limitations on access to any of the city's facilities or programs as discussed earlier in 504 review. Is anyone aware of any need for modification to the city's facilities or programs in order to increase accessibility? Does anybody have any questions about any of the public announcements? Community Development Plan. Today's public hearing is the first step in the process of updating a 3-year community development plan for Lock Haven. As part of the CDBG application process, this 3-year community development plan will be accepted by the city and will include eligible projects submitted for funding but not chosen this year. Those projects will be considered for future funding. Most recently, the city used previous CDBG CV fundings to provide grants to local businesses. The Lock Haven Skate Park and East Bald Eagle Street and Race Street improvement projects were most recently completed in 2023. The Tiger Park improvements and Hoverman Park improvements are ongoing. Public restrooms, Hannah Park improvements, zoning ordinance, and saldo update. 211 support were activities funded with fiscal year 2023 funds. At this time, I'd like to give anyone present the opportunity to comment or ask questions about any projects that were funded with previous CDBG allocations. At this time, I'd like to give anyone present the opportunity to propose projects for funding consideration.
I have a couple. We're looking into the paving of Spring Street where it intersects with Bellefonte Avenue. That intersection, I guess that section of road has become highly trafficked, as well as the alley with the no left turn. Also looking at a continual funding of Hannah Park as we look at those improvements. And then water and sewer projects continue to be on the rise. So we'll continue to look at the lines that qualify.
Thank you. Anybody else have any projects? At this time, I invite anyone present to comment on any concerns they may have regarding the potential for historical or environmental impacts associated with any projects under consideration for 2024 CDBG funding or any other previously funded CDBG project. Are there any further questions? Okay, hearing no further comments, I hereby close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Whenever you're ready.
People do need it. Yes.
I get it.
My shoulders are.
That's right. We'll call the August 19th meeting of City Council order. Please rise and over the silence call by the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Councilmember Brannon.
Here.
Councilmember Brinker.
Here.
Councilmember Conklin.
Here.
Councilmember Missouri.
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson. Mayor Long.
Here. And council. You were pointed out last time, we have two sets of this. Anybody wants to make a motion to vote for, if you want to split it, either is fine.
Fine, I move approve the sets and minutes.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brannon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yeah.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Public comments and requests, comments from residents and city taxpayers. Please state your name and where you live.
Alex DiCostanzo. I live 731 Belfont Ave. So I own a business in downtown Lock Haven. My wife does as well. And I was incredibly disappointed with LH Jams and how they had these street closures set up and how it impacted my business. Now, I want to preface that I generally like street closures and I think they're good for the community and everything. I was particularly upset with how the entire event was planned and how there was nothing in front of my business, my wife's business, and several other businesses from Grove on our way. I have a picture if you guys want to see, but basically the stage was set up, bisecting the street and having everything, basically all the vendors were on one side of that, with the stage facing that way, cutting off our end of the street. I was incredibly upset when I came in that day to see there was no vendors, because for my business personally, the street closures are not good. I like them as a community member, et cetera, but for my business, they deter my customers from coming to my store. My wife's store, on the other hand, great, loves them, does really well during street closures. I just feel that businesses need to take need to be consulted more during planning for events like that. I know you guys approved the street closures, but they have a major impact on our businesses, period. Whether they're good, bad, whatever, they do have an impact. And to not have any of the vendors or any real foot traffic passing by our stores during a street closure, negatively impacting my normal customers, and not even being able to get passerby as they would come through to see vendors. So I don't know what the right solution is. But I wanted to come down and say that I was upset about it, and I think that we can maybe come to some solution where businesses can be consulted, whether that's through downtown Lock Haven or through some of the businesses want to be speaking for them. But I did not like how LH Jams was planned to basically cut off half the street's businesses from foot traffic.
Oops, I'm sorry. As you might have spoke, I think that it'd be a good idea for you to check with CPS and the Arts Council since they plan that. And maybe they're just not thinking about it,
In years past, has that been an issue to you?
Or
has there been vendors down? I don't go over. So.
I think last year was okay. I don't specifically know what happened this time, but I'm looking for something more of a comprehensive solution where it's not just because there are going to be other requests for street closures or other reasons. It's not this specifically. I want the businesses to be thought of in general. This is something that impacts. Because look, personally, my business downtown is not my livelihood. That is not where I make my income, that is not where I pay my bills from. I do it because I love it, and I love Lock Haven, and I wanna have a business here like that. There are other people who have businesses downtown where it is their livelihood. Every sales day counts all the time. So anything that impacts those businesses, I feel we need to be, I want to be a part of this process because I don't feel like I was taken care of when that street was closed and my business was negatively impacted.
Any other comments, from residents, taxpayers? Yes, ma'am.
Well, on South Fairview Street, I would just like to make it known that Happy Birthday America is still on streets and, equal opportunity, if we're upset about pride flags, should be upset about that too.
But I believe that was part of the approval was that the, removed as was at the end of the month, so, follow up on that.
We can.
Thanks for pointing out, appreciate it. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I was hoping Mr. Wilson would be here, but of course he's not.
He's not going to quite long tonight.
It seems that during a meeting that he was representing the city with the county about airport business, for some reason, he starts telling everybody to listen to me that I've made a personal fortune down there off that airport, which is totally inaccurate. And I wonder why he's taken on himself to start being personal. I was hoping to find out where he got this. If there's any fortune made, I spent it in that airport. Besides the 1,000 gallons of fuel I bought, 40 years of mowing grass for free, and just, all the work we've done down there. So I just wonder why it was proper for him in a meeting with the city council. I have the commercial back me up on it, and about 7 other people that they start saying that I made, we used to think the words were buku money one time, another time a fortune off the airport. That's totally freaking false. Like so much of the other BS he's been saying, I just want to get an answer from him. I'm going to get an answer from someone off. I have to write a letter, I'll have my pretty much. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
He's not here to defend himself, you should probably wait
I read,
until the
right,
time when he can actually defend himself. Thank you for letting us know, and perhaps you can reach out to him, or if you're not going to anybody's here, might be better for you to try addressing with him.
well, I'll see the letters written up for it's sent to you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
No other reason to be here.
Okay. Any other comments? All right. 4B, downtown Lock Haven, fall decorations request.
Downtown Lock Haven is requesting the use of the city light poles for fall decorations. Businesses will decorate the light poles with a scarecrow, and there will be guidelines to make it family friendly. Sponsored and monitored by Downtown Lock Haven and their manager. They would be installed September 22nd and removed after Halloween.
Motion.
I will make a motion. I think this is a great idea. I'll second.
Motion, floor and second. Any other comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yeah.
Councilmember Brannan.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 4C, use of triangle and memorial parks by Living Hope Church.
The Lock Haven branch of Living Hope Church is requesting the use of Triangle and Memorial Parks as needed on Sundays from 2 to 4 for church services. They are requesting this until they can resolve the issue at their current location or until a new location is found. And Casey Campbell will work with them to ensure all rules are followed and we don't have any conflicts.
Triangle and Memorial Park 2 to 4, are they gonna be in both at the same time, or are they gonna use one or the other?
I believe they are using one or the other so they avoid conflicts.
is Memorial Park and the construction?
Memorial Park is,
No, that's the veterans.
yeah,
Okay.
no, that's fine.
I move approval. 1 second.
Motion floor and a second. Any further discussion?
I-
It's gonna go in the nature of.
Says till the 29th. Yeah, until the 29th of September.
Thank you. I mean, I thought that it was till, till they got things resolved.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see that, but I will clarify that Casey said it's the Memorial Park is the rain location because of the pavilions.
What?
The pavilions are there. No, it's fine.
Motion floor and a second. Any further questions or comments?
I have a question. I think at one point, after I had been elected, but before I was sitting on council, there was a conversation about people have the freedom to use the parks for gatherings. Is this something that actually needs a use request, or is this something that they can just do?
Think that they have to do it with insurance, making sure they have insurance when there's a specific thing.
Like a specific.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that like we weren't approving a use request for something that didn't need to happen.
Right, I think that we have to verify it in this case that they have insurance covering those.
Then they're gonna clean up and that
Right.
she has a whole list of things and it reserves it for them. Because if somebody else comes.
And then I
Reserve
want
it,
to do that, yeah.
So
then
that
we
it
don't have-
guarantees their schedule.
Any other questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yeah.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson. Mayor Long.
Yes. 4D, Farm City Festival sign placement.
This is a request from the Clinton County Conservation District to place a sign at Hannah Park as soon as possible for their Farm City Family Festival. It will be removed Monday, September 23rd.
Last week, panicked, trying to, trying to do this in time. So what's the wish, council?
So.
Second.
Motion floor and a second. Question?
I don't remember it being 4x4 before. It was a big sign, but I don't know if it was that big. My only concern is that the placement of it, where you go out of the park, isn't the greatest sight distance going, no matter which entrance you use. So it needs to be set back enough so that there's visibility, sight distance for safety. Maybe our park foreman should review that placement when they put it up there. I'm not against doing it, but I just don't want to cause a traffic problem.
So you would like that to be part of this?
No, just follow up through city and the staff to oversee the placement.
Any other input? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon. Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yeah.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yeah.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Are there any other public or requests?
I have none.
Unfinished business 5A, consideration of ordinance number 2024-04.
This is the second reading of the registration of vacant building ordinance. Again, second reading. If you have any questions, you can talk to Cindy.
I was gonna say. I'm sorry, I'm Casey this evening.
Do you want to switch?
Did you have any concerns with it? I mean, I'm sure you edited it and made sure it was the right thing for the city and a thought process for everything.
I did.
Upgrade it.
I was involved in the review process of it. We had the city solicitor review it. He then in turn worked with the legal team for Hera Registry to make sure that all of our needs and concerns were met. This is something that's a fledgling project for the city. It's an undertaking really like no other that my department has had. So there may be some times that we come back and ask for amendments to do this, that, or the other thing, but Hera, with their experience in this, I think those adjustments are gonna be few and far between, so. And it will be a little bit of, revenue for the city. It's gonna help us build a database for properties that are vacant, which will help then with property maintenance officers, enforcement of property maintenance issues, and knowing who to send violation letters to and things like that. So it is a daunting task, so I think that this is a step in the right direction.
And then now move to ordinance 2024.
Hold on, I have to go back to being Casey. Okay.
Wait, wait a second. Go ahead, second. All right, so we have a second further.
Looking at, the fee rate.
That's next.
That's the next.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll just wait for that.
Okay, any other questions on this particular motion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yeah.
Councilmember Brannan.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Okay, 5B, resolution number 2024-23, this is the fee schedule. Go ahead and ask your questions.
Well, I noticed that we just go into a 350 flat rate, whether you're a 10-year vacant property delinquent or 1 year. So some of my question is, why do we change that from our figures from 5,000, 10+ years to 350? And my other part question to that is, over the years, how many property owners have we collected to those significance? You know, have we gotten anybody 5 to 9 years, 10 years? Or
Are you
what I
asking
mean?
if we've actually collected fees
Correct.
for those? No, we haven't, because we didn't implement this, the registry until the year before we hired a property maintenance officer, and we implemented that. So when that person came on board, they had the ordinance already adopted. So when Caleb came in, the first thing that he did was start investigating what we had adopted, found that no other municipalities that we were talking to try to get form-based computer notices to issue to people and things like that. None of the municipalities had them because they all use a third-party vendor. So that's when we started looking into that avenue. So we haven't collected any fees for these. I did get an email before the meeting started. The fee change for the ordinance is following current Pennsylvania standards. No other municipality that enforces a vacant property registry has a ladder fee schedule. This type of fee schedule apparently has caused problems with banks that like to see a set fee. Our fee is standard for pricing in our area. The example that they gave was Lewistown.
Thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree that I have a question on my mind that says there's no teeth in that at 350 a year. I'll pay my 350, let it go for another year. The other one was very aggressive, and it would have hit them in the clock. Well, it's the only thing that they understand. Do you think that 350 is enough? Or even though it's not ladder enough? And the goal is that they fix the place and they rent it and they sell it or they do something with it.
Right.
Not just sit there vacant. I don't know how else to encourage them except for financial.
My suggestion would be that we implement the fees that were suggested by Hera with what you have in front of you. And if we find that there are perpetual offenders, that the fee seems to be
Not deterring.
then we have the availability to through a fee resolution. So that's something that we could do every 3 months if we needed to. But because we haven't had any practical experience with this in the past, I think that taking the recommendation of the people who do this statewide and in other states too, would be a good place to start. There's justification for that. And then if we find that it's not a deterrent and we want to increase those fees, then that's something that we can take to HERA and we can take to the solicitor to make sure that we're staying within our legal parameters.
And so then we should change the verbiage just to say schedule of charges and fees is $350 a year. Instead of listing all those up to 10 years, you might as well cut that out and make it one sentence. That's what your fee is per year. And it's probably from the date of the notice that the next year starts again. Because it's bulky the way it is now. Verbiage wise. I mean, one fee, if you're having 5 or 6 fees, it's okay to list them. When you're having one fee, there's no use.
The other thing to consider too is that these are just annual fees that are collected under the property registry. If there are issues with the property, like broken windows, high grass and weeds, vacant, abandoned vehicles, we can still pursue the notice violation process through the property maintenance code. So, and that eventually, if the situation isn't remediated, that eventually goes to the magistrate, and the magistrate has the availability to fine up to $1,000, I believe, per instance. So in theory, we could cite them every day.
And the longer that it's vacant, the more chances those things are gonna be occurring.
And like I said, if those occur, that would be something that our property maintenance department would take care of and address. It wouldn't be something that we would have to go through HERA. That would be done internally with city staff. So it would be done quickly.
And you guys have this registry of lovely vacant properties. You can go down the list.
Correct. And that is the biggest positive for me in the fact that they're going to be able to develop this database for us. I can't tell you how many times in the last 28 years when I've had to deal with vacant properties, if it's a foreclosure and there's a notice on the front door and you call the number that's listed on the notice, it's from California and it's Bank of America and you get something automated, and it could take days to find a responsible party if you do. The nice thing about HERA, again, this is something that they do on a daily basis and they've got contacts in place. So they do all of the legwork and we still receive a fee.
Yes, sir. Dave?
John, Mike Lawson, 940 Belmont Avenue. I own 4 pieces of real estate in excess of my home within the city. Rentals, of course. What is the definition of a vacancy under this? If I have a vacant rental property for a month or 2.
That doesn't qualify.
Where is the definition of that? For how it is?
Do you have a copy of the description?
Like, at what point does it become defined as a vacant property?
Under the definitions of the ordinance itself, vacant shall mean any parcel of land in the city that contains any buildings or structure to be used as a residence or for commercial or industrial purposes that is not lawfully occupied or used for its accustomed and ordinary purpose, as evidenced by conditions set forth in the definition of evidence of vacancy. In the case of the use of a residential property, used for its accustomed and ordinary purposes means a place of abode.
So do something about that.
It also goes on to say something about the utilities being turned off and the
Accumulation of mail.
accumulation of mail.
I have the evidence of vacancy if you'd like to hear that.
So if utilities are on and there's no mail accumulated, it's not vacant.
Do you want to hear the definition? I mean, so you have that's the crux of it, but if you want to hear the actual definition, I'd be happy to read it. Evidence of vacancy shall mean any condition that on its own or combined with other conditions present would lead a reasonable person to believe that the property is vacant. Such conditions may include, but are not limited to, overgrown and or dead vegetation, past due utility notices and or disconnected utilities, accumulation of trash, junk, or debris, abandoned vehicles, auto parts and or materials, the absence of furnishings and or personal items consistent with habitation or occupancy, the presence of an unsanitary stagnant swimming pool, the accumulation of papers, circulars, flyers, and or mail, statements by neighbors, passersby, delivery agents or government agents, and or the presence of boards over doors, windows, or other openings in violation of applicable code.
Multiple.
Any of those, yeah, anything that would give us reason to believe that the property has not been inhabited in a reasonable amount of time. And I don't think, there's nothing with this that says, if you get a letter that says, Mr. Clausen, we believe that your property is vacant at 123 Bellefonte Avenue, that you can't respond and say, that's a residential rental. It was rented. The last people that we had in there did some damage. We're doing some repairs, noted in the file. So it's not anything that we're going to get carried away with. It's the habitually vacant property.
I understand current authority in the city, but once a rule is written, then somebody else can come in and enforce it. And
I think that,
that's why I wanted to.
yeah, I think that's pretty, clear cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you, Rob.
Any more questions? Or, so, no, we did not yet, and that's what I was
I'll
gonna
go with
do.
the resolution 2024. That number on
Yeah.
2024, 23?
it? No, it'd be resolution. I don't know what the number
Or
is.
2024-23.
23. Mhm.
And, are you including in that, you would like to just say 350 and not have the schedule?
Yeah, just make it one line, not a scale. And, the fee, the scheduled charges and fee is 355 fee. And I'll include the officer inspection fee, has risen to $75 per. That's printed.
And just to clarify, that's for the property maintenance officer
Yeah.
himself. That's okay.
So we're clear on the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any other questions or comments on this motion? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brannan. Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. Okay, 5C, consideration of resolution number 2024-24, rules and regulations of parks.
This resolution provides temporary suspension of particular park rules and regulations at Petty Park, in response to council's previous decision at the last meeting to grant the request of Venture Crew 007 through the Susquehanna Council Scouts of America to use Petty Park for their Bald Eagle District Camporee, May 15th to 18th. There are a few things listed, but the main is including building campfires, gathering firewood from the park, clothing, setting up booths, tables, and operating any park or any vehicle throughout the park where they're not allowed, like off of paths and things like that.
Is there our goal in number A, letter A, to clear cut an area of the park? That's the only one I disagree with. I don't think they should be out there with their hatchets cutting down trees and brush and building fires. It would be green anyway, even if it was dead. They might be able to drag it out. Everything else applies to them, but I'm not sure we want to. And then you might end up with bungee sticks or trip hazards, or later for mowing would be, pieces sticking up. I'm not sure I can agree with A, but I do the rest of everything about that they can build fires, and are they gonna clean them up when they get done, take the charcoal and the ashes and the coals?
Yeah, sure.
They're, you know, and of course, they'll clean the area, the scouts are good at that.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure about A, if you wanna read that and give us your thoughts, anybody else?
I wasn't sure if A wasn't maybe not worded properly.
That's probably how it's writ, how it
Yeah.
reads, so
That's-
I don't see anything there that the scouts should be doing.
It says to injure, deface, remove, cut, or damage any of the trees, and I'm wondering if it meant that we shouldn't. I don't know that.
We were given them provisions to allow them to do A, C, F, G, and L. Because specifically, our resolution says they're not allowed to do that, so we're waiving that for their free. But I don't think we should waive A, if they wanna, if they better bring their own. Well, I just don't wanna see them cutting any live trees down. I think they would go out and
Right.
deforest us or clear cut us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about A.
So you proposing that we move this resolution with striking A as one of the exceptions? Is that what you're?
Well, that's why I was asking for clarifications, if anybody had heard what the intent of putting A in there was.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, if it's just a piece of dead log, I don't care, but I
Yeah.
don't see them out.
I do see your point, but I'm wondering if you would remove a tree, like it doesn't specify live or dead trees. If you remove it from the area and you burn it, you're technically removing it from the park. Maybe we could specify in the use request that they don't cut any live trees. Up for
Yes, it's
this
not
kind of
a big ordinance, we can't just change the wording here because.
Well, I mean, in the use request, as Casey works with them,
Yeah.
if we could set that parameter.
I will say Scouts for America has a very comprehensive leave no trace plan that includes not damaging the property that they're utilizing for temporary. It's very important to them that they leave no trace, so I highly doubt that they're going to come and do any injury to plants or trees.
Yes.
But
But we're telling them. they
yeah,
can't.
but we're telling them they can, but I doubt they would, but I understand the concern. And I just, for just general information, that is one of their.
Yeah,
big
it seems to me that isn't that the whole point of scouts?
Yeah.
You know, to learn proper things to do and not, you know.
Yeah.
But I do understand why there's concern for suspending it, you know, but we are suspending it specifically because of that.
I, having been a vendor leader and having gone on multiple temporaries, the only trees, plants, shrubs, turf, buildings, structures, et cetera, that they would be picking up dead branches for. So I think that that's probably what that is for. But I don't know. We don't have a leader here to ask.
Well, and if I may, I think the intention was that they would collect any dead wood that was there to be able to use for fires. But you can certainly make that a part of your motion, that that's something that Casey could incorporate into the agreement that the city has with the scouts to make sure that they either bring their own wood in or they can collect anything that's there that's on the ground and dead to burn, but not to take down.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Make that motion?
it. I will amending A, that it's, no live trees over there, and dead logs. Whatever.
Do I have a second to that motion?
And second,
I'm seconding the motion. Any further discussion on? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brannan.
yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 5D, consideration of the award of the Keystone Grant funding Ross Library HVAC replacement.
The planning department has been working with the Howley Ross Library with their Keystone grant for a HVAC replacement project. We opened bids on August 15th, this past week, and received the lowest bid in the amount of $61,592. This is lower than the grant funds allow, so we could get a little added bonuses in there for them. And the bid tab is attached for reference. The library staff and board are aware of this as well.
Question.
Sure.
They both understand what the scope of work was?
Yeah.
Want to do the project. by
That's
themselves.
what I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a drastic difference in them, but the low bid does understand the scope of the project and is prepared to do it. I'm not sure about the high bidder, but
It's just such a huge difference, I thought.
It is.
What?
yeah,
And the funding for that, was that block grant?
it's Keystone Grant funding. It's a library grant that they partner with the municipality.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Mayor Long.
Yes. 5E, Active Transportation Plan Steering Committee.
We are working with PA Walkworks after receiving a grant award to develop an active transportation plan. With that, we are required to build a steering committee to help guide the consultant team on local issues. So we are looking for volunteers who represent a wide range of transportation network users. So walking, biking, wheeling, any scooters, mobility scooters, skateboards, anything of the such. I attached in your packet like the breakdown, just to name a few. We have like public health, community groups, youth, seniors, people with disabilities, transit users, public safety, anyone who is interested in getting around town safely and effectively. They are welcome to reach out to me. My email is aroberts@lockhavenpa.gov and my phone number is 570-893-5903. And I just ask council if you or someone you know wants to be involved, spread the word, please. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and this would start, we are looking to get the RFP out for a consultant here in the next week, and then the steering committee will actively start maybe November, December timeframe.
Anything else under unfinished business?
I have none.
New business. Bucking Fire Department Halloween Parade donation.
This is the annual request from the Lock Haven Fire Department for a financial donation for the family-friendly event. It is Saturday, October 26th, beginning at 10 a.m. We'll start on East Main Street and North Henderson Street and end at Triangle Park. Just as a reminder, last year council donated $100 to the event.
So further,
No, we've done this for the last many years, as I can remember, spend $100 and they stay within their budget. They have a nice safe evening for the kids and a party at the firehouse afterwards.
Yeah.
Donuts, cider, they hand out prizes for costumes. It's very nice fun event and the fire department.
Yeah.
Run it, so take that away, stop, should help.
and comments. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Alexander.
Yes.
Councilmember Brandon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brinker.
Yes.
Councilmember Conklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Missouri.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson. Mayor Long.
Yes. Comcast for franchise fee.
This is so the minutes reflect the Comcast franchise fee that we received for the second quarter.
And personnel.
Mr. Wilson will follow up on that item personally.
Any other new business?
I have none.
I attended the city authority meeting for the day. The request, recall, we had requested that they help fund or reimburse funding of the legal training equipment, for the water system. They had sent back the letter, it wasn't a denial, it was just questions. They spoke about it during their meeting, asked me questions, and they decided to go ahead and reimburse us out towards the leak detection equipment, so I'm going to pass it on to council. Does anyone else have anything else? Do I have a motion?
Wait, I have one quick thing, something I noticed. I don't know if people are aware of this or not, but bicycles aren't to be ridden on sidewalks in the city. So if you're, I think sometimes people feel safer riding their bike on the sidewalk, but you're not supposed to ride your bike on the sidewalk. It's,
No, you were supposed to ride on the street, follow the traffic laws, on top of that. It doesn't mean ride the wrong way on Main Street.
it's terrible to put bikes on sidewalks,
Yes.
just a friendly reminder.
And then just one thing with the FYI and reports, there's a copy of the letter sent to Clinton County for requesting a contribution for the active transportation plan. Just for your knowledge.
Anything else?
I'll just announce that there's an executive session following this regular meeting to discuss matters under section 708A3 of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I didn't expect that.
There's a reason somebody with 30s does